Alitalia was an Italian airline. The airline was founded on September 16, 1946 as Italia Linee Aeree Italiane, and on January 12, 2009 as Italia Compagnia Aerea Italiana, and on January 1st, 2015 as Italia Società Aerea Italiane, and commenced operations on May 5th, 1947. But unfortunately, on October 15th, 2021, the airline went defunct. So, what happened? What went wrong with Italia? Well, let's find out. Alitalia Linee Aeree Italiane. Alitalia Linee Italiane was established on September 16, 1946 as Airline Italiani Internazionali, which in English translates to Italian International Airlines. It was formed as a result of an Anglo-Italian agreement and was funded by the Italian government and British European Airways (BEA) in a 60 out of 40 share arrangement with a capital of 900 million lire, which is 1 million euros. Its popular name, Italia, is an Italian portmanteau of the words ali, which means wings, and Italia, which means Italy. It started operations on May 5th, 1947, in which year it carried over 10,000 passengers. The inaugural flight was with a Fiat G12 Alitalia piloted by Virginio Rainero from Turin to Catania and Rome. The first intercontinental flight left a year later, flying between Milan and cities in South America. The Savoia Marchetti SM-95 four-engine airliner was used on European routes up to 1949. On October 31st, 1957, Alitalia merged with Linee Aeree Italiane and took on the name of Italia Linee Aeree Italiane. By the time of its liquidation, Alitalia was owned by the Italian Ministry of the Treasury, other shareholders including employees, and Air France KLM. By 1960, Italia was operating jet airliners on some European routes, the Sud Caravelle and the Douglas C-8 on several longer distance routes. The Vickers Viscount propeller turbine four-engine airliner was flown by Italia on its European network throughout the 1960s, beginning with the Pope Paul VI in 1964 until the airline's closure in 2021. The Pope flew most often and on a chartered Italia jet. The Pope's flight was often nicknamed Shepherd 1 by the press, while the actual call sign was Volo Papal, which means papal flight in Italian, followed by a serial number. In 1978, Alitalia had its head office in the Palazzo Alitalia in Rome. 1990s. By the 1990s, Alitalia was carrying 25 million passengers annually. In 1997, it set up at a regional subsidiary, Alitalia Express, and in 2001 became a member of SkyTeam. In November 2003, Alitalia announced that it would cut 2,700 jobs over the next 3 years to prepare the airline for a merger with Air France and KLM. In April 2004, Alitalia acquired Gandalf Airlines, a bankrupt regional airline, to gain additional slots at several European airports, mainly in Milan, Linate, and Paris Charles de Gaulle. In 1995, Alitalia signed a partnership with KLM, which aimed at a merger. The aim of the partnership was to develop Malpensa as a hub, along with Amsterdam, which lacked enough landing slots to expand further, and Rome Fiumicino, 2000s. In 2001, Alitalia renewed grounding handling contract with SEA. In the same year, Alitalia joined SkyTeam Alliance. In September 2007, Alitalia announced that it would nearly halve its hub at Malpensa and instead focus on Rome Fiumicino and move all intercontinental flights there. Until this announcement, Malpensa had been Italia's primary hub for intercontinental flights. The transition away from Malpensa and towards Rome Fiumicino was completed by the end of March 2008. Minor intercontinental destinations which previously received flights only from Malpensa henceforth received only flights from Rome, Fiumicino, or elsewhere discontinued. Alitalia Compagnia Aerea Italiana. In 2008, a group of investors formed the Compagnia Aerea Italiana CAI consortium to buy the bankrupt Italia, Linee Aeree Italiane, Old Italia, and to merge these with Air One, another bankrupt Italian carrier. On October 30th, 2008, CAI offered €1 billion to acquire parts of the bankrupt airline amidst pilots and flight crew members' opposition to labor agreements. On November 19, 2008, CAI's offer was accepted by the bankruptcy administrator of Alitalia with the permission of the Italian government, at the time the majority shareholder of the bankrupt airline. Alitalia's profitable assets were transferred to CAI on December 12, 2008, after CAI paid €1.5 billion, consisting of €427 million in cash, and the assumption of responsibility for €625 million in Italia debt. A USA diplomatic cable disclosed in 2011 summarized the operations as follows. Under the guise of a rather quaint and distinctly un-EU desire to maintain the Italianness of the company, a group of wealthy Berlusconi cronies was enticed into taking over the healthy portions of Alitalia, leaving its debts to the Italian taxpayers. Rules of bankruptcy were changed in the middle of the game to meet the government's needs. Berlusconi pulled this one off, but his involvement probably cost the Italian taxpayers a lot of money. On January 13, 2009, the new Alitalia launched operations. The owners of Compagnia Aerea Italiana sold 25% of the company's shares to Air France KLM for €322 million. Air France KLM also obtained an option, subject to certain conditions, to purchase additional shares after 2013. The new Alitalia did not claim the old Alitalia's history as its own, as it can be seen in the official documents regarding the new Alitalia group. Instead, they stressed that they were a totally different company. They chose not to recognize benefits such as discounted tickets to former Alitalia LAI workers and refused to honor passengers' claims against the old Alitalia. The new Alitalia did not own many of its operating airplanes. Alitalia LAI had owned all of its airplanes. Almost every plane that CAI had acquired from the old Alitalia was sold or decommissioned. Alitalia CAI airplanes were leased mostly from Aircraft Purchase Fleet-It, an Irish company owned by Carlo Toto, the former owner of the bankrupt Air One, which was merged into 2008 into Italia LAI when the new company was founded. 2010s. In January 2010, Alitalia celebrated its first anniversary since the relaunch. It carried 22 million passengers in its first year of operations. In 2011, 25 million passengers were carried. On February 1st, 2010, it was announced that Alitalia crew would go on a 4-hour strike over wages. This was the first strike action for Alitalia since the relaunch. On February 11th, 2010, Alitalia announced that, starting from March 2010, it would use Air One as a low-fare airline smart carrier, with operations based at Milan Malpensa Airport, focused on short-haul leisure routes. It was predicted that the subsidiary would handle 2.4 million passengers by 2012. In 2011, 1.4 million passengers were carried by the subsidiary. Although operations were initially to be concentrated at Milan Malpensa, Air One later operated from Milan, Malpensa, Venice, Marco Polo, Pisa, and Catania as of January 2013. On February 12, 2011, information was released about a possible merger between Alitalia and Mergeriana Fly, another Italian carrier. The merger did not occur. On February 23, 2011, Alitalia and ENAC announced the introduction of a safety card written in Braille and characters in 3D relief, which is the first of its kind. On January 25, 2012, Alitalia signed memoranda of understanding with two other Italian airlines, Blue Panorama and Windjet, and said to have started a process aimed at achieving integration with them. By the end of July 2012, the Italian antitrust authority allowed Alitalia to acquire Windjet, but in return Alitalia would have to cede slots on domestic routes. Faced with this, Alitalia canceled the plans a few days later in August 2012. On May 3, 2013, in a sting code named Operation Clean Holds, a police made 49 arrests at Rome's Fiumicino Airport, with another 37 in Italian airports including Bari, Bologna, Milan, Lanate, Naples, Palermo, and Verona. All were Alitalia employees caught on camera, and most were charged with aggravated theft and damage. In late 2013, facing bankruptcy, the loss of a major fuel supplier, and bankruptcy grounding by Italy's Civil Aviation Authority, the airline announced a €500 million rescue package, which included a €75 million investment by the Italian state-owned postal operator, Alitalia, Società Aerea Italiana. In June 2014, Abu Dhabi-based UAE national airline Etihad Airways announced it was taking 49% stake in Alitalia. On September 30th, 2014, Alitalia's budget subsidiary Air One ceased flight operations. On January 1st, 2015, Alitalia CIA formally passed its operations to Alitalia SAI, a new entity owned 49% by Abu Dhabi-based Etihad Airways and 51% owned by former Italian stakeholders of Alitalia CAI. In May 2015, Alitalia announced it would terminate its partnership with Air France KLM in 2017, stating that there were no longer enough advantages from the joint venture to keep it up. In February 2016, Alitalia announced that in late March 2016 it would cancel most of its routes from Pisa, including Moscow, Prague, Berlin, Tatiana, and Triana. Alitalia decided to continue flying to Olbia and Rome. On April 25, 2017, after Alitalia employees rejected job cuts, proposal aimed at reducing costs, the airline announced that it would start going through a bankruptcy process, beginning with the appointment of an administrator. The Italian government permitted Alitalia to file for bankruptcy on May 2, 2017. On May 17, 2017, after the government had ruled out nationalizing the airline, it was officially put up for sale to be auctioned off. In June, EasyJet expressed interest in purchasing the airline. Ryanair also expressed interest but dropped its bid after the chaos caused by Ryanair's flight cancellations. In 2018, Delta Airlines, EasyJet, an Italian railway company, Ferrovie dello Stato Italiana, lodged formal expressions of interest to acquire Alitalia. Talks between the parties were opened in February 2019. In March 2019, EasyJet announced that it had withdrawn from the discussions. After the official visit of Chinese President Xi Jinping to Rome, China Eastern Airlines expressed interest in Alitalia's rescue plan and could spend up to €100 million in exchange for a 10% stake. Delta Airlines stated to Reuters that it was ready to invest in Alitalia, but a 10% stake was the right way for them to do so. 2020s. On March 17, 2020, the Italian government took full control over the airline after talks with a number of Italian and international companies failed to agree with terms of them being shareholders of the airline. In April 2020, the Italian government announced it would take over Alitalia in May since it would not be able to survive the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on its own. The fleet was planned to be reduced from 113 aircraft to more than 90. The airline also questioned if it should remain in SkyTeam, which it has been a member of since 2001. In May 2020, USA Aerospace Partners, headed by Michelle Roosevelt Edwards, announced they were still interested in purchasing the airline. The company had offered to purchase it earlier in the year. Edwards stated that airline would fly 150 planes within 5 years, with a mix of Airbus, Boeing, and Embraer. On May 21, 2020, Alitalia left the SkyTeam transatlantic joint ventures. On June 29, 2020, Italian Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte announced that Francesco Cao would be named chairman and Fabio Lazzarini would be named CEO of the new Alitalia. On August 24, 2021, Alitalia announced it would be ending all ticket sales on their website and announced customers who purchased tickets for flights after October 15, 2021 will be refunded. ITA Airways. On October 10, 2020, the Italian government signed a decree to reorganize the airline as ITA Italia Trasporto Aerea. On October 28, 2020, it was reported that ITA would buy several assets from Alitalia, Società Aerea Italiana, including the brand of the flight codes of Alitalia and Alitalia Cityliner, the IATA ticketing code 055, the Mile Maglina frequent flyer program, and airport slots at London Heathrow, 68 weekly slots in the summer and 65 in the winter. The transaction is expected to cost €220 million. On January 8, 2021, the European Commission sent a letter to the Italian permanent representative of the European Union to launch an open, transparent, non-discriminatory, and unconditioned tender to shed Alitalia assets. The letter consists of 62 requests for clarification, rejecting the idea that the old carrier could sell its belongings to the new company in private negotiation. In the letter, it is stated that the Alitalia brand should not be retained by ITA since it is an emblematic indicator of continuity, but finally ITA Airways bought on October 14, 2021, the Alitalia brand for €90 million. The European Commission suggests that the combined aviation, ground handling, and maintenance business should be sold separately to a third party. It also suggests that the slots must be sold and the Mille Miglia program in its entirety cannot be transferred to the new corporate entity. The new airline commenced operations on October 15, 2021. And there's the history of Alitalia. So what went wrong? How was the game over for Alitalia? Well, I think when the new Alitalia bought the old Alitalia, I think that's where things went wrong. As the new Alitalia was basically doing things that were doing a lot of things wrong, and the old Alitalia was doing things right, but unfortunately the new Alitalia, when they started out, they started doing a whole bunch of things wrong. Anyways, this is where I'm going to end off this video. If you guys haven't enjoyed this video, please make sure to hit the like button. And also, don't forget to subscribe. We do videos every single day. And also, don't forget to subscribe and ring the notification bell on my second channel. My second channel will be... And also, don't forget to subscribe and ring the notification bell on my second channel. My second channel will be linked down in the description below, along with all of my other social media pages as well. So, if you guys want to follow me on all of my social media pages, all of my social media pages will also be linked down in below, along with my second channel. But until then, I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye!